Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. If I had three words to describe this episode, it would be funny, laughable, and interesting. We'll start off, we'll start off with Jack and Carly, and Felicia to some extent. Now, here's the thing. I'm trying not to go too hard on Felicia, but every time I see scenes like this, having her give an attitude to Jack when Jack shows up to sit there and see Carly, it's like in my head I had this knee jerk reaction to be like, why don't you just go back to being the irrelevant character that most people don't even remember? It seems like that, and I get supporting characters, but I'm also just like, why are you still here? Like part of me is just like, why are you still here? Now, at some point, she does sit there and talk to Anna about trying to get Jack away from Carly, and this is what Bobby would want. And I'm kind of just like, maybe you should sit there and pay attention to your own marriage. Instead of that they're trying to be all busybody in somebody else's ish. Now, the thing with Carly and Jack, for the most part, it's pretty boring, right? They're talking about Jocelyn, and they both have two definitions of what Jocelyn is doing. Carly thinks Jocelyn is on a trip. Jack knows that Jocelyn is getting training to be a spy. And I think she's going to be a badass spy personally. But while they're talking, some chick named Vivian just shows up out of nowhere. And it's like, oh, you don't call, you don't write? Like, what's going on? And I'm kind of just like, well, if he didn't really message you, then, like, maybe you should have got the hint. But instead of her getting the hint and reading the room, she decides to be desperate and throw herself at Jack like he's not on a date with somebody else. Now, Carly, sees that and she's just put off by the whole thing. And she pretty much is like, listen, I'll just pay for the dinner and I'm going to leave. So she leaves, Jack follows, and I guess she feels kind of embarrassed, but she's like, hey, listen, what are we doing? Because I don't want to be a fling or anything like that. Now, my issue with that is that while I understood where she was coming from, this isn't the first time that she brought that up. Okay? This isn't the first time that she brought that up. And I'm just like, if you didn't establish anything with him about where your relationship is, then why the hell did you agree to sit there and go to dinner with him? I don't understand that. Like, what are you doing at this point? And before he can really give her an answer, he gets a text saying that they found Charlotte. Rocco has been texting Charlotte and, tells Danny as far as, I don't know, I guess, what advice that he needs. What advice, what advice that he can do, because he doesn't want to tell his mom, but he knows he's going to be upset he knows that his mom is going to be upset if she finds out, and he knows that she wants to find her daughter, his sister. But bullets are flying and stuff like that, and he doesn't want her to get hurt. Danny decides to take it upon himself the minute that he sees Jason and just tells everything. And Danny's pissed. But he's keeping that ish silent. And, Jason's like, hey, listen, the less people know, the better. I got this. I will sit there and get your sister back home. And the minute he leaves that room, Rocco goes off in his ass. And it's only until Dante comes in and they both lie about why they're arguing that he's able to sit there and try to, keep the peace or whatever. And they were both kind of wrong in the situation. I put more down on Danny. But also, I'm like, Rocco, if you didn't want this to happen, then maybe you shouldn't have told Danny in the first place. Like, you've been obviously knowing what's been going on. You've been keeping contact with for a while. So, like, you didn't have to tell him that either. So, well, that's going on. Oh, also, Anna was there talking to Jason about finding Charlotte, and there's a kill order, and Carly was involved. Was Jason even know about that? And while at some point when they leave and she's talking to Felicia about that, she gets a call from Jason. She gets a call from Jason, Smith saying, "Hey, listen, I found Charlotte. I know where she's at. So let's go and find her." So this whole thing is a race of race of time to sit there and see who can get to Charlotte and Valentine first. It just makes me think, how long is Valentine actually going to be on the show, right? I say that because when you transition to Maxie stalling Marty from getting in his own room because Lulu is looking through the papers, taking her long, sweet ass time while he's doing all that. While she's doing all that, the minute that she mentioned, "Hey, listen, this would be billable hours," I was like, "Oh, why don't you start off with that?" And I'm just like, "So wait, you're gonna sit there and hire Marty as a lawyer?" But then I thought about it. That's who we've been missing for quite a while. I didn't even sit there and think about him until today. Mm-hmm. That's right. Good old Scotty boy. Scotty. Where the hell has he been at? Remember the last time we seen him, which was, what, maybe a year ago? And I don't know why I didn't think about that because every time that Kim is on Twitter, he's been sitting there talking about it. He's kind of let it go for the most part, which I'm very glad about. But he was being like, "Hey, listen, what's going on, GH? Um, your boy's just kind of sitting here, just waiting, just waiting for you to, use me again. What's up with that?" And Lulu is taking her sweet ass goddamn time. And the sad thing is that she didn't text her. This and Lois, of course, came to the door looking, but she didn't text her when she was out the building. She texted her when she was with Cody at the quarterman. You know how long that Maxie had to sit there and stall for and now use billable hours? And you finally sit there and say, this is after Maxie had to sit there and mess up her own damn blouse? Okay, I'm clear. Well, I felt like you said that like 20 minutes after. Did you forget what she was doing? I know it's kind of a nitpick, but still. Um, Ava and Portia. Ava and Portia. Okay. So, Portia tells Ava everything. Blackmail. She's like, what can I do? She's pretty much asking for advice. And the thing is, Ava has been giving her advice. Why don't you sit there and tell your husband? He may leave you. He may not leave you. But there's really no option. I can't do anything. And then there's one point, I swear, she must have sat there and give her advice at some point. But then Portia's like, Ava's like, well, what else can I sit there and do? How could I sit there and help you? And she's like, well, I came here looking for advice. I'm like, boo, she gave you advice like 5 minutes ago. You're just choosing not to do it. And finally, she's like, why don't you sit there and talk to Rick? You know, he may sit there and give you some advice, and his stuff is protected by client whatever, is protected. So, like, why don't you sit there and talk? And she's like, all right, well, I'll think about it. I'm like, I don't think you have time to think about it. You're already sickened by the idea of having Drew sit there and control you. And you don't want to sit there and tell Curtis because the last time you withheld something from Curtis, it destroyed you. It destroyed your relationship with him, destroyed your relationship with Trina. You don't want to go down that route. So, like, also, what I am glad about. See, I thought that they rewrote about the whole Curtis knew about her being blackmailed, but they didn't. He just don't know who was originally blackmailing her. She doesn't know it was Brad. So I'm like, boo. At the end of the day, You're either going to sit there and tell the truth, or you're going to accept Curtis' offer. You're going to accept Drew's offer. And what was Drew's offer anyway? So Drew wants, let's see if I can get this straight. Drew wants Curtis to go back to that congressman and basically just sit there and say a bunch of nice things. This way, it can make his job easier. How would that even work anyway? Like, Curtis already practically badmouthed Drew, in a sense, right? He told him all the bad things that Drew was sitting there doing. How is him going back to the same guy after telling him all the bad stuff that he's did and start singing his praises? And what is that supposed to do? You think he's going to sit there and believe that? If somebody told me that this person's bad and they're doing some really shady stuff, and then they came back to me in 5 days and was like, "Oh yeah, just to let you know, by the way, I didn't really tell the whole truth, and you know, um, he's a really good person, and this, that, and the third." Either one, I'm going to sit there and think, "What's going on?" Two, I'm going to sit there and be like, "Are you just wasting my time? Are you playing with me?" And three, I'm going to be like, "Did I really sit there and trust this guy after he just told me something completely different?" So I don't even understand how Drew's plan is supposed to work at this point. So that whole thing was just mind-boggling. Okay, Lulu goes back to the Quartermaines and is pretty much fishing for information from Cody to confirm, what she read. And he does eventually confirm it, that he knew about the pregnancy, he didn't say anything, and everything that Lulu was reading about was true. He also took pictures. Now, when Lois came and tracked down Marty, I was like, "Oh, well, I want to sit there and take a look at the notes. I want to sit there and take them, and I want to burn them, and this, that, and the third." He goes in his briefcase, he looks at his notes, hesitates. Hesitates because he realized something. Those notes, the order that they were in, like that wasn't the original order that he had his notes in, because she got scared and she just put him back or whatever. He didn't say anything. He did give it to her and say that she might have been a little paranoid, but he knows. There's a sixth sense. He knows that those notes was tampered with. Now Lois did come from the Quartermaines, and Dante and Cody are just sitting there talking and chilling, talking about how are they talking about? Oh, he was in there asking Dante, do you think you should sit there and tell Lulu about what happened during summer camp and everything like that, and the history with you in Brooklyn? And I'm like, I don't really understand why he would do that for, but he does sit there and say, well, maybe he was like, well, nothing came from it. He's like, well, maybe something did. Kind of a shitty friend in a sense, but okay. Of course, Emma and Gio comes in and they take a look at the horses, and then they sit there and start trading. They start talking about their time, being camp counselors and everything. They talk about Brooklyn. And Lois comes in there, and, while they're sitting there talking about the good old times in the old neighborhood and everything like that, Lois, either gets, she feels guilty or whatever the case is, and that's when she decides to leave to go to Martin, because she's like, hey, listen, if this truth comes out, it could do a lot of damage. Yeah, it could. But maybe it needs to come out. Like, maybe it needs to come out. See, the thing with Lois is, I'm not going that hard on Lois in a sense, because I know that she wants to sit there and protect Brooklyn. She wants to sit there and protect Brooklyn and stand by Brooklyn and everything like that. So I'm not giving Brooklyn that full. I'm not giving Lois that full smoke. Um, but I will sit there and say, when Olivia finds out and she starts reading her ass, I'm not going to feel bad for Lois. I'll tell you that much. So yeah, I guess Mario's going to be Deception's new lawyer, and he's going to have to sit there and navigate. Well, two things. He's going to have to navigate Tracy. He's also going to have to navigate um, Lucy. I think the Tracy part would be a little more difficult because, I mean, Tracy is difficult and kind of annoying on a good day. And, Lucy clearly wants to sit there and get back with Marty. And I know that at some point, Marty's just going to sit there and get back together with her. Even though I think that he can do better, but, whatever. Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a live stream. I'm going to try. I still do got Hollyoaks to watch. I have a live stream with Kyrie's at 9 o'clock, but it's not really that long, but I still do got to watch Hollyoaks. I'm going to watch one episode of this show, which is Degrassi. That show was something else. So, something else. Anyway, so we're going to see. But anyway, if I miss anything, let me know in the comment section. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.